you are someone who has spent the last 20 years focusing on training, especially for hypertrophy.
Yeah.
You are someone that has won pretty much every single title on the planet. You have 10 exercises that you can do for the rest of your life in order to maintain as good of a physique as you can. What are they and why?
10, that's very specific.
10. I just figured that would be enough for you to get each different muscle group.
Right, okay.
So what are the longest levers that you can pull when it comes to maintaining size or increasing size for
so
muscle
a lot of
growth?
obviously compound lifts, so you're looking at your deadlifts, your bench press, and your squats. They're always good. Again, these are things that I've had to adapt over the years because of injuries and things, training silly when I was younger.
Okay, there's 3.
There's 3 there. Hanging leg raise for core. It's one of the hardest midsection. If you do it properly, I think it's one of the hardest midsection exercises, but it's phenomenal for your transverse abdominals, your upper and lower abdominals, everything. It's a great... I feel like that was something that helped me build my midsection.
You've got one
heavily.
of the acclaimed best midsections in all of fitness. What are the cues that people get wrong when they're doing hanging leg raises?
So they create momentum, they swing, which I think that has a bit to do with CrossFit, with this kipping, malarkey, momentum stuff that came into play a fair few years ago. But I think swinging, I think using the hip flexors instead of the midsection.
How do you know if you're doing that?
You'll feel it. You'll feel it down your quads.
What's the cue? Someone's doing someone's listening to this hanging from a bar right now. What is the cue for them to go from I'm hanging straight to I'm doing a leg raise that makes it work appropriately?
So is it tucking the hips in and making sure you're contracting your upper and lower abdominals before anything else? So it's always keeping them fully contracted. Mind to muscle connection is a huge thing. I believe in that so much.
Yeah, Mike Thurston does the same.
Yeah, and the thing is, the last few years I've done that so much more now. As I've got older and more mature, I'm not just trying to lift heavy weight and trying to ego lift. And since I've done that, the muscle maturity and how my body's developed is just exponential. I just wish I'd done it 5-6 years ago. So I think that's very important, mind to muscle connection.
With hanging leg raises, are you going to an L? Are you going up to touch the bar?
So either. So I used to do all the way to the top, but I alternate now. So I just do a bit of both. I think there's a place for both of them, but I think that when you go past a certain point, you are recruiting other muscle groups. So if you want to just isolate your midsection, just go to 90 degrees.
How do you do progressive overload on that? Or do you?
You could add weights to your...
Do you?
I don't personally, no, because I was obsessed with my midsection growing up. As you can see, Rob Riches was the guy who got me obsessed with it. So I wanted to be on the front covers like Rob was. I used to see all the magazines, and I try to treat my midsection like any other muscle part. A lot of people think with the midsection you should train them 30 minutes after every session, or why? Every other muscle part we train to break the muscle fibers down heavy, a lot of load. We break the muscle fibers and we let them recover 2, 3, 4 days before we hit them again. And that's how I looked and viewed my midsection. So I'd give them 2 full hour sessions with a 3 to 4 day rest between, and I'd the 6 to 8 rep range really heavy. The thing with that, I started to develop really chunky abs, blocky abs, and then it started to look a bit distended because I'd gone too far with it, and I was causing so many back problems. I had slip discs from it, and basically it's because I was too front heavy, too front strong. So it took a lot of years to start having to hyperextend. For every crunch I did, they said I had to do 2 hyperextensions.
Wow.
So yeah, it was...
You needed to compensate for all of that anterior strength that you developed.
Yeah. And so now I don't tend to go too heavy, and we do a lot of own body weight stuff.
Okay, cool. So you've got 4. You've got squat, bench, deadlift, hanging leg raises, 6 more slots to keep your body.
So I'd go with some isolation work. So we'll probably go with like an incline dumbbell chest, just because you can do a lot of different variations on that, but I think it's great for development.
Shoulders aren't getting much work at the moment.
All right, shoulder press. We'll go with a dumbbell shoulder press because it's great for isolation, unilateral, and that's quite important. Obviously, leg work. So we need to do some hamstring work. So we'd do... I would say stiff leg deadlift, but no, I think if we're going to try and create some growth, I think we're going to go for like a lying hamstring curl heavy.
You prefer a lying to a seated?
I do, yes. Yeah, I do. But I don't know if that's down to the fact that I just get better contraction off that. I think it's personal preference in my eyes. That I've always said that with any type of exercises, if you feel an exercise more than another, stick with it, go with it, do the extra sets and reps on that particular exercise, because that's where you're going to get the most out of it. If you're doing an exercise because someone else has told you to do it and you're not getting that mindfulness connection, or you're not feeling it, there's no point. And that's what I love about bodybuilding as well. Nutrition and training, you adapt it to you. It's an individual sport. You can have people around you supporting you, but your metabolism and the way you train, the way you eat, it all falls on you. So learn the body yourself and adapt as you go.
Okay, 3 left. What have you got?
I've lost where we are now.
Squat, bench, deadlift, hanging leg raise, incline chest press with dumbbells, shoulder press.
Seated calf raise.
Seated calf raise. Oh, so you want to get the soleus moving?
Yeah, we'll get them in.
Okay.
We'll cover them. And then
2 left.
We need overhead tricep extension, rope.
Pivoted from the bottom of a pulley.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. What are the cues that people get wrong there? Because this is something that I absolutely love to do, but where do people go wrong? Quite mechanically, quite a complex movement.
Yeah, I think you can go too heavy too soon and start recruiting and start pulling. I don't know, with the shoulder. I think it's important to lock your elbows in a fixed position, as well as the shoulder, making sure there's no movement there. I like to elongate and stretch it out. Not a lot of people go too far with it, but I like to overextend slightly to get a full stretch and a full contraction at the top.
One more.
We need biceps, don't we? Then we've got everything then.
What's your number 1 bicep exercise?
What is my number 1 bicep? You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say it, and this is a bit of an outward one, this, because I've done loads of them today, is pull-ups, close grip pull-ups. I know it's a back workout, but your secondary muscle is bicep, and the contraction I get off that for my bicep, every week I hit them. I always want to bring my back up anyway, so it's an excuse to just hit the back as well. But I think that's a great overall exercise.
Given the fact that you've added deadlifts in, what is it that you're finding as a physique competitor that, first off, isn't massively judged on your legs, and secondly, wants a narrow torso? Why would you put deadlifts into that kind of a workout?
So I've never believed this I don't know if scientifically this is right, but with deadlifting, I used to deadlift every week. I don't so much now. I do a lot more isolation on hyper extensions, again, because I get a better contraction. I do hypers. I prefer to deadlift, but I do hypers mainly. But with a deadlift, obviously it recruits near enough every muscle in the body, so it's great for an overall workout. But I've lost my train of thought. What were we saying there?
Why are you using deadlifts, given that you want to have a small waist?
Yeah, like I say, because I train my midsection the way I do a lot of isotension in the morning.
What's that?
So it's basically all about iso holds. So you breathe in, fully breathe in, you exhale every bit of air out of the body, and you crunch your abs as hard as you can for 3 seconds. And then
Standing up,
yeah.
Yep.
You can do that with any muscle part. So it's the most monotonous thing a bodybuilder can do, but it's one of the best things for muscle control, for getting everything tight, for condition. I challenge anybody to do this. So we'll keep it simple. Three from the front, 3 from the side. So you've got 3 on the obliques on either side. So you inhale, hands over your head. As you come down, you crunch. You exhale every bit of air out. You crunch and hold it for 3 seconds as hard as you can. It's good to have your top off because you need to seriously tense. Do it again. And crunch. Try and do that 10 times. And then go to the side. And then crunch down, hold. And they do that 10 times. And then do that 10 times. Have 30 seconds rest. Go again. And then go again. I do it 5 rounds. And you're literally dripping wet through. And the blood volume you get in your midsection is insane. So you can do that with with your biceps or between exercises. So if you're doing a bicep curl, you can straight in, you hold your pose, a double bicep, and you squeeze your midsection, you squeeze your biceps as hard as you can for 20 seconds, say. You come out and then you go straight back into your working set. It is brutal, but if you ever see on a bodybuilding stage when people are like this shaking because they've got no connection, they've got no control over their bicep. And
is that why that happens?
Yeah. Well, there's other factors what can happen.
Dehydrated, they're tired, they're etc.
But 9 times out of 10, that will be down to the fact they've not done any iso holds, or they've not took the time with their posing to practice the posing. And that's something I always prided myself in. I remember the first few shows I did on the Olympia stage, and we're all back hitting from the back, and the guys are going, like, Ryan, how are you holding that? How are you holding that? Because everyone's shaking. And it's because 8 weeks out from any show, 30 minutes after my fasted cardio, I'll do iso holds with every pose I have to do and every muscle group. So it's horrendous, but these are the things that people don't see. These are like, so when you look at bodybuilding, oh yeah, you eat some meals and you train twice a day, but it's the little things. It's what I obsess over, because it's okay having a great work ethic like in the gym, or having the discipline to eat your 6 meals and not cheat. But it's also the other bits of presentation, which is so important.
What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.